Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English the Natural Way. I'm Alex.
Hi, friends. I'm Linda. We're so excited to have you with us today. Whether you're at home, studying, or relaxing, thank you for joining us.
Today, we're going to explore two phrases that sound similar, rather than and instead of.
These phrases both show alternatives or choices.
Many learners think they're exactly the same.
And they're very similar, but there are some differences.
By the end of this episode, you'll know how to use both confidently.
Before we start, please like this episode and subscribe to English the Natural Way.
And we want to give special shout out to @Caesar for this videos and learning with us.
Thank you so much, @Caesar. We're so happy to have you in our English the Natural Way learning community.
All right, let's get started.
First, let's understand what these phrases mean.
Both rather than and instead of show preference or substitution.
They mean you're choosing one thing over another thing.
I'll have tea rather than coffee. I choose tea, not coffee.
I'll have tea instead of coffee. Same meaning. I choose tea, not coffee.
Very similar. So what's the difference?
The main difference is how formal they sound and small grammar differences.
Let's explore each one separately first.
Let's start with instead of.
What does instead of mean?
Instead of means in place of or as a substitute for.
It shows what you're replacing.
I walked instead of driving. Walking replaced driving.
She chose tea instead of coffee. Tea replaced coffee.
Instead of shows substitution.
The key grammar rule for instead of.
Instead of is followed by a noun or verb ing, gerund.
After instead of, you need a noun or verb ing.
Structure instead of plus noun or instead of plus verb ing.
Instead of the bus, I took a taxi. Noun.
Instead of driving, I walked. Gerund.
Always noun or ing after instead of.
This is because of is a preposition.
And prepositions are followed by nouns or gerunds.
Let's see more examples.
I'll eat salad instead of pizza.
He studied instead of watching TV.
They stayed home instead of going out.
She bought the red one instead of the blue one.
We'll meet tomorrow instead of today.
All nouns or ing verbs after instead of.
Instead of can also start a sentence.
Instead of complaining, let's find a solution.
Instead of being angry, try to understand.
Same rule, noun or ing verb after it.
Now, let's talk about rather than.
What does rather than mean?
Rather than means more willingly than or in preference to.
It shows what you prefer.
I'd rather walk than drive. I prefer walking to driving.
She chose tea rather than coffee. She prefers tea to coffee.
Rather than shows preference or choice.
The key grammar rule for rather than.
Rather than can be followed by a noun, ing verb, or base verb.
It's more flexible than instead of.
3 options. Let's see each one.
Option 1, rather than plus noun.
I'll have tea rather than coffee. Noun.
He chose the train rather than the bus. Noun.
Option 2, rather than verb ing. I'll walk rather than driving. Gerund.
She studied rather than watching TV. Gerund.
Option 3, rather than base verb. I'd walk rather than drive. Base verb.
She'd study rather than watch TV. Base verb.
All 3 are correct with rather than.
This flexibility makes rather than special.
But here's an important note.
When you use the base verb, rather than often comes with would before the first verb.
I'd walk rather than drive, or I'd walk rather than drive.
This is the most common pattern with the base verb.
Let's see more examples. With noun, I prefer action rather than words.
With ing, he enjoys reading rather than watching TV.
With base verb, I'd stay home rather than go out.
Rather than is more flexible.
Now, let's compare them directly.
This is the best way to understand.
Example 1, I walked instead of driving. Verified.
Example 1, I walked rather than driving. Verified.
Example 2, I'd walk rather than driving. Verified.
All three correct. Rather than gives more options.
Example 2, instead of the bus, I took a taxi. Verified.
Example 2, rather than the bus, I took a taxi. Verified.
Example 3, instead of complaining, find a solution. Verified.
Example 3, rather than complaining, find a solution. Verified.
But rather than complain, find a solution.
This option only works with rather than, not instead of.
Instead of complain is wrong.
This is the key difference.
Let's practice with a conversation.
Hi, what did you do this weekend?
Instead of staying home, I went hiking.
Oh, nice. Why hiking?
I'd rather be outdoors rather than sit inside all day.
Good choice. Did you drive or take the bus?
Instead of driving, I took the train. It was more relaxing.
Smart. And what about food? Did you pack lunch?
Yes, rather than buy expensive food there, I made sandwiches.
Very economical. Would you go again?
Definitely. I'd rather hike every weekend rather than waste time on my phone.
Instead of watching TV, you're getting exercise.
Exactly. Rather than be lazy, I'm trying to be active.
That's inspiring.
Did you notice how we used both?
Instead of staying, instead of driving, both ing verbs.
Rather than sit, rather than buy, rather than waste, rather than be, base verbs.
Rather than showed up with would, I'd before the first verb.
Both phrases were used naturally.
Common mistakes to avoid.
Mistake 1, using base verb after instead of.
Wrong. Instead of drive, I walked. Correct. Instead of driving, I walked.
Instead of must have ing or noun, never base verb.
Mistake 2. Forgetting of in instead of.
Wrong, I walked instead driving. Correct, I walked instead of driving.
It's instead of. 2 words, always with of.
Mistake 3, using of after rather than.
Wrong. Rather of driving, I walked. Correct. Rather than driving, I walked.
It's rather than, not rather of.
Mistake 4. Not matching the verb forms.
Awkward, I'd rather to walk than driving. Better, I'd rather walk than drive.
Try to keep both verbs in the same form when possible.
Understanding the formality difference.
Rather than sounds more formal and literary.
You'll see it more in writing, formal speeches, or academic contexts.
Instead of sounds more casual and conversational.
You'll hear it more in everyday speaking.
But both are correct anytime.
Examples of formal versus casual.
Formal, the company chose to expand rather than consolidate.
Casual, I'll walk instead of taking the bus.
Formal, he decided to speak rather than remain silent.
Casual, let's order pizza instead of cooking.
Both appropriate, just different contexts.
When are they interchangeable?
When using noun or ing verb, they're often interchangeable.
I chose tea rather than coffee equals I chose tea instead of coffee.
Rather than studying, he watched TV equals instead of studying, he watched TV.
Same meaning, both correct.
When is rather than the only option?
When using the base verb form.
I'd rather stay than go. Check. No instead of equivalent.
Rather than accept defeat, we tried again. Check. Instead of can't do this. More practice examples.
Fill in the blank. Rather than or instead of.
I walked, driving. Both work, either rather than or instead of.
I'd walk dash drive. Only rather than works here.
Dash the movie, we went to dinner. Both work.
Dash complain, let's solve it. Only rather than with base verb.
Dash complaining, let's solve it. Both work with ing.
Understanding the pattern?
Real life situations.
Making choices about food.
I'll eat vegetables instead of junk food, or I'll eat vegetables rather than junk food.
I'd rather cook than order takeout.
Making choices about time.
Instead of watching TV, I'll read. Or rather than watching TV, I'll read.
I'd rather spend time with family than work overtime.
Making choices about transportation.
Instead of driving, take the bus, or rather than driving, take the bus.
I'd rather walk than take a taxi.
Both work in every situation.
Understanding would rather.
Would rather is related to rather than.
Structure, would rather plus base verb plus than plus base verb.
I would rather stay than go.
She'd rather read than watch TV.
This is very common in English.
Would rather always uses base verbs.
I would rather walk. She would rather study.
Never ing with would rather.
More examples with would rather.
I'd rather be happy than rich.
He'd rather work alone than in a team.
We'd rather wait than rush.
They'd rather save money than spend it.
Very common expression.
Converting between the phrases.
Good practice for understanding.
Instead of coffee, I'll have tea. Arrow, I'd rather have tea than coffee.
Rather than driving, I walked. Arrow, instead of driving, I walked.
I'd rather read than watch TV. Instead of watching TV, I'll read.
Practice both directions.
Common expressions to memorize.
With instead of that, instead of me, instead of now.
With rather than not, rather than nothing, rather than never.
These appear in conversations.
Position in sentences. Both can start or come in the middle.
Beginning. Instead of driving, I walked. Rather than driving, I walked.
Middle. I walked instead of driving. I walked rather than driving.
Both positions work.
Memory tricks. Instead of has of. Think of needs a noun or ing, like all prepositions.
Rather than has than. Think than can compare two verbs, walk, than, drive.
Instead of sounds like in place of, substitution.
Rather than sounds like more willingly than, preference.
Use what helps you remember.
Your challenge for this week.
Day 1. Write 5 sentences with instead of plus noun.
Day 2, write 5 sentences with instead of plus ing.
Day 3. Write 5 sentences with rather than plus noun.
Day 4, write 5 sentences with rather than plus ing.
Day 5. Write 5 sentences with would rather plus base verb.
Day 6, convert instead of sentences to rather than.
Day 7. Listen for both phrases in English media.
By week's end, you'll be confident.
More examples to master both phrases.
Health and fitness. I walk instead of taking the elevator. I'd rather exercise than diet strictly.
Work and career. She started her business instead of working for someone. I'd rather work independently than be micromanaged.
Learning. Instead of memorizing, understand the concept. I'd rather learn by doing than just reading.
Relationships. Instead of arguing, discuss calmly. I'd rather be honest than tell white lies.
All situations use both.
Understanding emphasis.
Rather than sounds more emphatic. I'd rather die than give up. Strong.
Instead of sounds neutral. Instead of milk, I'll have water. Simple.
Choose based on feeling strength.
Advanced patterns.
Rather than not try, I'll give it a shot. Action emphasis.
Instead of me, send him. Pronouns.
Building automatic usage.
Decisive feeling. I'd rather. Explaining choice instead of.
More conversions. I chose red instead of blue to I chose red rather than blue.
He'd rather stay home than go out. To instead of going out, he'll stay home.
Understanding daily nuance.
Native speakers use instead of for simple daily choices. Coffee instead of tea.
They use rather than for significant or emphasized choices. Live authentically rather than pretend.
Decision weight affects choice.
Common collocations. Instead of that, but rather than, or instead of.
Examples. I wanted pizza, but instead of that, I got salad. She found a solution rather than complain.
Natural patterns.
More real-world practice. Making suggestions. Instead of worrying, take action. Rather than wait, start now.
Giving advice. Instead of rushing, plan ahead. I'd rather prepare well than fail.
Describing habits. Instead of procrastinating, I work immediately. I'd rather finish early than stress later.
Comparing. Instead of cheap quality, invest in good. Rather than quantity, focus on quality.
Every situation covered.
Understanding prefer relationship.
Prefer is related to rather than. I prefer tea to coffee. Similar to I'd rather have tea than coffee.
Prefer plus noun plus to plus noun. Rather than plus more flexible.
Quick review. Instead of equals in place of substitution.
Rather than equals in preference to choice.
Instead of plus noun or ing, never base verb.
Rather than plus noun, ing, or base verb, flexible.
Both often interchangeable with nouns and ing.
Only rather than works with base verbs.
Instead of equals more casual, conversational.
Rather than equals more formal, literary.
Both show alternatives or choices.
Would rather plus base verb plus than plus base verb equals very common.
You now understand both clearly.
These phrases make your English sound more sophisticated.
Don't be afraid to use them.
The key is simple. Instead of needs ing or noun. Rather than is flexible.
With practice, it becomes natural.
If you enjoyed this episode, thumbs up.
Subscribe to English the Natural Way for more clear lessons.
Leave a comment. I'd rather blank than blank. Fill in the blanks.
We love seeing you practice.
Keep learning, keep practicing, keep building confidence.
See you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.